The only thing white people have lost they have lost the ability to do is to say nigga without consequences. That's it. What else have they lost? Donald Sterling said made $2 billion saying.
Well,
Joe Rogan said he made $150 million saying.
Delroy and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making.
We're here to celebrate.
I would like to thank my incredible cast. Wumi, thank you so much for giving Smoke opportunity to be him.
DL Hugley is making it crystal clear he's got zero love for the Academy Awards. And he had something to say about Michael B. Jordan's Oscar win, especially after what went down at the BAFTAs. Now, DL wasn't coming for Michael directly. What he was really calling out is the entire machine and what he believes is a pattern of degrading black performers. DL has gone on record saying these awards don't mean much to him, and he's been vocal that black folks shouldn't be out here begging for validation from white institutions. He even put it in a tweet, comparing the Oscar committee to a grand jury, saying anytime people gather behind closed doors, it never ends well for black people. DL's been in this game long enough to recognize the cost of these so-called victories, and he's suggesting that's exactly what happened with Michael. He watched Will Smith chase an Oscar for years, only to finally get one right after slapping Chris Rock on that same stage. He saw Halle Berry take home the gold for playing a black woman who ends up with a racist prison guard responsible for her husband's execution. That role came with explicit scenes, deep trauma, and a storyline built around a white man finding salvation through Halle's character. And what became of Halle's career post-Oscar? It basically dimmed out, and now she's mostly stuck doing films that go straight to streaming. Back in 2002, when Halle won, she gave a heartfelt tribute to Dorothy Dandridge, the first black woman ever nominated, and to every woman of color who had to claw her way to even get close to that stage.
This moment is for Dorothy Dandridge, Lena Horne, Diane Carroll. It's for the women that stand beside me. Jada Pinkett, Angela Bassett, Vivica Fox, and it's for every nameless, faceless woman of color that now has a chance because his door tonight has been opened.
But what tangible shift did Halle's victory actually create? Halle herself has said she believed it would open doors and bring better, more complex roles her way. What she got instead was Catwoman. And now, more than 2 decades later, Halle remains the only black woman to ever win Best Actress in a leading role. Then you've got Lupita Nyong'o, who took home the Supporting Actress Oscar for 12 Years a Slave. But all that trophy brought her was a flood of offers to play more enslaved people.
After I won that Academy Award, you'd think, oh, I'm gonna get lead roles here and there. Oh, Lupita, we'd like to play another movie where you're a slave, but this time you're on a slave ship. Those are the kinds of offers I was getting in the months after winning my Academy Award.
Now, this whole Michael B. Jordan Oscar situation gets even more tangled when you look at what happened recently. A few weeks back at the BAFTAs, Michael was on stage presenting when a man with Tourette syndrome yelled the N-word at him and his Sinners co-star Delroy Lindo. And yes, the guy has a documented condition, so we can say it was purely coincidental that he shouted that particular slur the second 2 black actors stepped into the spotlight. Sure, we can buy that, but here's the part that doesn't sit right. The BAFTAs were taped with a 2-hour buffer, and the BBC had plenty of time to cut out other moments they didn't want broadcast. And let's not pretend if someone had shouted a slur targeting another marginalized community, the network would have scrubbed it immediately. So why did they keep it in? What was the point of airing that humiliation for 2 black actors in front of a global audience? And here's another strange detail. Michael B. Jordan didn't say a word about it. Delroy Lindo later told the press he wished someone from BAFTA had reached out to them afterward, but Michael remained completely silent and took it on the chin. Then a few weeks roll by and he's holding an Oscar. This is precisely what DL means when he talks about a humiliation ritual. First, you get publicly disrespected. Then the very same system that didn't defend you turns around and hands you a trophy, expecting you to grin and express gratitude. It's like a test. Can you endure the degradation and still stay in line? Can you be the kind of black actor who doesn't rock the boat? And if you zoom out and look at the broader pattern, For performers of color, the Oscars function as a loyalty check. Can you play along? Can you smile through the slurs, accept demeaning roles, and call it artistic achievement? So when D.L. Hugley says black people shouldn't be out here begging white institutions for love and approval, this is exactly the dynamic he's pointing to. And here's another fact that backs up DL's argument. In the entire 96-year run of the Academy Awards, not one black director has ever won Best Director. Let that reality settle in. And the nominations are so rare you can count them on your fingers. John Singleton broke barriers in 1991 as the first black director nominated for Boys in the Hood, but he didn't take it home. Lee Daniels earned a nod for Precious, no win. Steve McQueen got nominated for 12 Years a Slave, still no win. Barry Jenkins was up for Moonlight in 2016, but lost to Damien Chazelle for La La Land. Then there's Spike Lee, a filmmaker who shaped American cinema in undeniable ways. He didn't even get a nomination until 2019 for BlacKkKlansman, and he's never won. Now think about the implications. Black actors can appear in narratives crafted by white storytellers and take home Oscars for portraying slaves, domestic workers, and tragic characters whose lives orbit around white people. But when it comes to creating and controlling their own narratives, that's where Hollywood puts up the wall. And this ties right back into what DL is describing as a humiliation tactic. But this pattern isn't new. It stretches all the way back to Hollywood's roots. Hattie McDaniel became the first black Oscar recipient in 1940 for Gone with the Wind, playing a maid. But the night she won, she was forced to sit at a segregated table in the back, away from her white castmates. And even after death, racism pursued her. When Hattie passed away from cancer in 1952, she asked to be laid to rest at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, but they refused because the cemetery didn't allow black burials. For decades, there wasn't even a marker acknowledging her, and the cemetery didn't install a memorial until 1999. And Hattie was facing the same dilemma black actors still face: accept the degrading part and hope it opens better doors. But for Hattie, it never did, and she spent her entire career fighting for whatever scraps came her way. Jump to the present, and the white savior trope is still Hollywood's go-to framework for black narratives. From The Blind Side to Green Book, a film about a black genius whose main function is to teach a white man a lesson about humanity. Black stories are constantly filtered through white perspectives and packaged for white audiences. And according to Toure F. Reed, a professor of African American history at Illinois State University, Sinners falls into the same trap. Dr. Reed recently published a critique of the film, calling it a distorted vision of empowerment. He argues the movie pushes the idea that oppression can be overcome if black people just recognize their inner strength. But as he points out, personal empowerment alone can't dismantle systems built on economic exploitation. You can agree with his take or not, but the underlying issue remains. Hollywood still has a fundamental problem, and being handed a seat at the table after you've been publicly degraded isn't progress. Now, some of you might be thinking this analysis is overblown, and why can't we just celebrate Michael B. Jordan's achievement? And I understand that impulse. On the face of it, it's significant. A gifted black actor receives recognition from the most prestigious award body in the industry. But here's the reality, and this is the core of what D.L. Hugley has been emphasizing. Celebrating individual achievements while ignoring the systemic problems doesn't move the needle. And let's focus on Michael B. Jordan for a moment. As talented as he is, he fits the mold of what Hollywood considers safe. Look at his interviews, review his public commentary, and you'll see he rarely takes firm stances on controversial topics, nothing that could jeopardize relationships or future opportunities. Even when the BAFTAs allowed someone to shout a racial slur at him, Michael stayed silent. Some fans have even drawn parallels between Michael B. Jordan and the criticism aimed at Michael Jordan back in the 90s. Remember when MJ famously said Republicans buy sneakers too and refuse to back a black political candidate running against a known racist? Some argue Michael B. Jordan carries that same energy, but that's precisely why Hollywood embraces him. He's talented enough to lead major projects, but safe enough that he'll never make anyone uncomfortable. He'll never leverage his platform to say something that might jeopardize his next contract. And that's the heart of what D.L. Hugley was getting at when he said whether it's the Oscar committee or a grand jury, whenever people meet behind closed doors, it's not going to end well for black people. But I want to hear what you think about all this. Do you stand with DL on this? Or do you believe this perspective is overanalyzing the situation? What's your take on Michael B. Jordan and where he stands in Hollywood? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you stick around for the next video.